if your number one, number two doesn't exist, you never even mention them. They're not even there. However, if you're number two, I think you throw the kitchen sink at number one, but you do it in a creative way, bro.
Oh my God! Moment of the week, ladies and gentlemen, who is watching, gentlemen on the panel here. Toni Storm arrives in AEW. Let's do this. What do you guys? Let's start here. What do you guys think made her jump ship? Now, before she left the WWE, she was kind of like in a feud with Charlotte, kind of ended up competing against her, did get a title match. And so she, for some reason, she said, "You know what? This ain't working. I'm out of here." And
so
not too long later, not too long. Let me finish real quick. Not too long later, she decided to kind of do her own thing. She was a part of a match with the Bunny to be a special guest. I got kind of the surprise for AEW. So I'm setting the tone for those who don't watch AEW, Bill. You know how we journalists do. We set the tone.
I know that.
So I'll give it to you now, man.
So I saw her on Saturday at the Icons of Wrestling convention in Philadelphia and talked to her. I don't know her well. I crossed paths with her a few times, but it's just basically, to me, a very simple thing. If you get a good offer from somewhere else and they're going to give you a better push than where you're going, then bro, why not go?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like AEW was on the radar when she left, though. Like, it just seems like she just left. She just kind of was burnt out from what she was booked. Did she disclose?
We don't know that. We don't really know what was in her thoughts. We don't know how long she's been talking to those people anyway. And obviously, with the push that they gave her on Dynamite, they're interested.
Well, you're not supposed to be doing that if you're in WWE, right?
You're not. But again, we don't know what goes on.
But people do anyway. They're not supposed to.
It may not have been an official thing. It could have been talking to some of her wrestling friends.
Could be
there. It's the old telegraph, telephone, and tele-wrestler.
Yeah.
Just, hey, if anything opens up there, just tell them. Maybe I can do it.
With that, that's a good alley-oop to Vince. Why do you think that Toni Storm would even talk to her colleagues in that form? Do you think that she would be burned out in WWE from what you saw from her latter days?
Bro, it's really hard, bro, because each different wrestler or performer, bro, they're all looking for something different. You know what I'm saying? Like Bill said, bro, it could have been the almighty dollar. But on the other hand, bro, listen, I worked at the WWE, and honestly, bro, it's not the greatest, happiest place to work in the world. But if I'm a wrestler and it's all about my brand, bro, you don't have a bigger stage. So, sometimes you got to suck it up just to be on the brand, because obviously one day you're going to move on to other pastures. So you want as many people to know you as possible. There isn't a bigger stage than the WWE, bro. But, the bottom line is, man, it just all depends on each individual, Chris, really what they're looking for,
Yeah. And you can be on one level in WWE and just not be used right or climbing right. And then you see another opportunity coming up for you that, maybe I can become a star.
Yeah.
In this.
By
the way, that's the Vince that was with WWE. I recognize you now. The beard looks different.
There you go. to your point, Bill. I mean, that's what happened with Jericho. I mean, when he was with WCW, he was not happy with the way. I mean, he's been very vocal in his books and several podcasts of him not being happy with the way he was utilized in WCW, and Vince. Vince. This one to the screen's left. Vince Russo was very pivotal in really seeing Jericho and seeing the capacity that he has as a character and using that to really build him into a main event star. He went from television champion, cruiserweight, to winning the undisputed championship 2 years after his debut, 2.5 years after his debut, less than 2.5 years after his debut. So you're right to your point.
Toni Storm made a good, to use the word, impact on AEW, and I think maybe to move her in quickly against Thunder Rosa, as they're going to feed people on that show on Dynamite to Thunder Rosa now. I think that would be something that the fans will want to see at this point.
Very interesting. Looks like she's the baby face. She's got that baby face pop. Looks like Nyla Rose is the next in line for Thunder Rosa, and we shall see what is the next in line after Nyla Rose. With that, fellas, Cody with Cody allegedly signing in WWE, we don't know until he appears, so we don't know that yet. But with that, though, even with Cody and AEW was his baby, Bill, do you think that we'll see more of the defecting, with people jumping from one ship to the other like it used to be?
Well, first of all, people talking about Cody, it hasn't happened yet. Now they're saying if it's not WrestleMania, it'll be Monday Night Raw. Personally, it could be Shane McMahon as Seth Rollins' opponent. Or maybe it'll be... So, because the anticipation of the Cody thing, just to briefly talk about that, is huge, because you hear the fans on Raw every time Rollins comes out chanting Cody, Cody, Cody. Yeah. So it might be too premature to do it at this point now, because they're expecting this. And maybe they're going to throw something else. But the defection thing is very interesting, because the people in AEW may, and I don't know this for a fact, but the wrestlers there may aspire, like MJF has mentioned in the past, to maybe go to WWE. And then there's guys in WWE who are always going to be cranky and wanting to go to AEW, thinking it's better, easier road trips, et cetera, et cetera. So I just think once Cody makes that move, if that happens, a lot of the guys in AEW know him, and if they ever want to make that jump, it's a phone call.
Yeah, good point there. Vince, your thoughts?
Maybe.
Maybe. Listen, Bill Apter is an idol.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I can't disagree with him. Bro, listen, look, I've seen the AEW roster, okay?
I know.
Bro, for every 25 WWE superstars that Tony Khan would sign, there'd be one from AEW. There are a very, very, very selected few I think Vince would be interested. A very, very selective. I on that roster right now, bro, if there are 3 guys that Vince is interested in, I think that would be a lot.
I would love to see Jericho jump back. I think
I can see that.
Amazing,
I could see that. I could see that.
Yeah. Two of the names that I can off rip, Vince, that I can see can be hot commodities for Vince would be, of course, MJF and Wardlow. I think those are good.
That's it. Those 3 you just mentioned, I'm telling you, bro, that's it. That's it. I think.
Bill, can you think of anybody else?
Wardlow, though, would be an incredible monster in the old school type of monster category that people like Bruno and all these people used to work against and wrestle against. I think Wardlow would be amazing.
Yeah,
absolutely amazing.
I agree. And I have to have a slight bent toward toward Warlock because he's a fellow Ohioan. So I got to give it up for someone who's
there you go, man.
Absolutely. Let's go broing down memory lane, fellas. So Triple H calls it a day. He retires. He has an interview with Stephen A. Smith, who is a very controversial name of him, himself. He mentions that he's done. He is done, and even if he wanted to wrestle, he can't. He has a defibrillator in his heart. So, I mean, he talks about he doesn't want to die in the ring, which makes perfect sense. He's got a lot of executive roles that he's doing right now. So, with that being said, Vince, we'll start with you. You worked with Triple H. You were pivotal in his just ascension, so to speak, as a character from Triple H, from Hunter Hearst Helmsley to the game Triple H. You were very pivotal in that. Where do you think Triple H falls as far as just the legacy of pro wrestling in general?
Bro, that's going to be hard because of the position he was in, married to Stephanie. That's going to be hard because a lot of people are going to look at that and say, oh, that's why. But I'm going to sit here and tell you, bro, that guy worked harder than anybody else. He never stopped working. And Bill will tell you, bro, this was a real student of the game, from being trained by Kowalski. And I always, I was privileged enough to really see him around the old timers a lot. This was a guy that was around the old timers, picking their brains, asking them questions. This was a student of the game. This was a guy that worked just as hard as anybody else. I mean, bro, me personally, I would definitely put him up there. When I say top 10, there's been a lot of WWE superstars. And I believe that Triple H would be in the top 10 for what he achieved, how hard he worked, how smart he was. And like I said, bro, I just don't think he's ever going to get that credit because people are going to say he married the boss's daughter. Baloney. I was there when he wasn't even dating the boss's daughter, and I witnessed this all myself, and I knew he was going to be great.
Yeah. Bill, where does he rank?
Oh, easily in the top 5. Old school mentality in a new school world, and he knew how to mesh the two of them in perfectly, absolutely perfectly. On a personal level, he never forgot, and even with the wrestling talent, but with me personally, he never forgot when we did stories about him in the magazine, when the WWE banned us, all the magazines for so many years, wouldn't let us cover their shows and all that. As soon as he got in there, he found me, and when they started the network, he put me on the network. He put me on several of their shows, etc. And he always believed in taking care of people who help take care of him, and that's on a personal level.
But also, Bill, it wasn't only that. I think you're talking about old school, and you're talking about the legends he learned from. Let's be honest, So let me toot your horn for you. Triple H knew you were a freaking legend in the game, bro. So it wasn't just what you did for him. He knew what your status was in the business. Come on, Bill. Let's.
No, I appreciate that.
That's the truth, though. Come on. And he did the right thing.
But people in the office, but when you take someone like Vince and his crew, it was more like, well, that guy, they hurt that, and he was like, no, he fought through that stuff.
Yep.
And opened up a whole new world for my career too. But he's done that with so many guys. And I remember when Kowalski was training him, and I went a couple of times to where Kowalski in Massachusetts was watching this kid work, and Kowalski was saying to me, this guy is going to be something. He's got it.
Who came up with the terrorizing name?
I think that was Kowalski.
Was it really? Terrorizing.
I think so. Wow. I think so, because That's a name he used in that territory where Kowalski was when he ran shows.
Ah,
I could be wrong, but I think so.
Yeah, I remember Gary Michael Capetta and introducing him. Temple Rising. You know, I'm like, who the heck is this guy?
No, you need to go higher. Here he is, Terror Right.
I can't get that high, Bill. I can't get that high. But I think
Well, go see Val Venus. He'll help you with that.
Oh no!
Anyway.
I'll see. My high is Vince. Move to your right a little bit. There you go. That's my high right there. That light right there. That Vince just said was God. That's my high. Yeah, absolutely. All right.
I didn't let that one slip by.
Yeah, that was good. That was a good one though. That was a good one. Old journalist, you still got it. There you go. There you go. Move over Seth freaking Rollins, ladies and gentlemen. This is Bill freaking Apter. Very nice. Very nice. All right, let's conclude with the low bro gentlemen. So, speaking of Seth Rollins, he had some comments about AEW taking shots at WWE. He said this. He said, I find it very tacky and lowbrow personally. I think it looks and reeks of desperation. I don't think it's anything on our television show that we need to go there and talk down about these guys. That's my Seth Rollins right there. Bill, your thoughts?
Yes.
Is your thoughts on that? Do you think that Seth makes valid points there when it comes to AEW or speaking of WWE trying to downplay it?
Well, whether they downplay it or don't downplay it, you're acknowledging the competition. You're acknowledging the other company. That was taboo. If you remember when WWF brought guys in, they would never acknowledge where they came from. Mm-hmm. So to do that is something that is kind of new schoolish. But he's a company guy. He's got a great deal at WWE, and he was saying what he felt in protecting his employer. That's what I felt it was.
Vince, your thoughts on Seth Rollins?
I believe I've always said this, bro, and this has always been my philosophy. If your number one, number two doesn't exist, you never even mention them. They're not even there. However, if you're number two, I think you throw the kitchen sink in number one, but you do it in a creative way, bro. You don't do it lowbrow. You got to do it in a creative way. DX going to WCW, show. I believe you should throw the kitchen sink, but you got to do it creatively, man.
Yep, I agree with that.
Yeah.